Anyway, more importantly is our Greens policies, what we're actually standing on for the election, and I'm really excited by them. I'm proud to be standing for them, and I'd like to tell you about them. I've got three main issues that I'm standing on, and then a host of other ones, but the three main ones start with climate change and the need to do something about it. Now again, the National Liberal government of John Howard, Kay Holland Wall have been completely inactive on that for 11 years, and I think that's something that's quite indefensible really, when what it's resulted in is global warming that's drying out southeast Australia. So the irrigators of the Murrumbidgee irrigation area, the dryland farmers further west and north, are really trying to exist with virtually no rainfall, very limited water supplies, and it's all essentially the fault of the government. They didn't cause the drought, of course, but they caused the contributed to the global warming and the climate change that's exacerbating the drought. And the Greens would really do something about that. We would put a price on carbon. We would set renewable targets, really stringent targets, 80% at 1990 levels by 2050, for example. And Labour doesn't come anywhere near that, and the coalition's hardly warmed up on it yet. We would put a great deal of investment into energy-saving devices and help people to make their homes more energy efficient. Most important of all, we would invest heavily in clean, green renewables. And we're going to do that through our $3 billion Sun Fund, which will invest heavily in solar, wind and geothermal energy. And you might ask, where's the money coming from? Well, that's easy. We don't have a problem with that because John Howard's promised $34 billion in tax cuts. Kevin Rudd's almost matching it. Well, a $3 billion Sun Fund is chicken feed, isn't it, compared with really what is just an election bribe on the part of the Prime Minister and the part of Kevin Rudd. We would also phase out energy polluting industries such as coal-fired power stations we would phase out. We would gradually phase out coal mining, and we'd create many, many more new jobs. Coal has become increasingly mechanised. It doesn't hold many jobs, and we would create many more in our clean, green, renewable sources of energy. So there's not really a job worry there either. So doing something serious about climate change is top priority for this election. I think the second priority is probably industrial relations. John Howard went to the last election with nothing about work choices on his agenda, and suddenly when he won control of the Senate, up comes work choices. Well, we would do something about it. We'd absolutely scrap them. Not a sort of work choices light that Kevin Rudd and Labour's promising, but we really would completely get rid of work choices. We'd abolish AWAs, we'd restore the right to collectively bargain, and we would restore the rights of unions. And we would also put back unfair dismissal laws. It's strange, isn't it, how Kay Holland, the Nationals and the Liberals believe in unfair dismissal. That's dreadful. How un-Australian can we really get? So doing something serious about work choices is incredibly important for us. And the third most important thing, I think, is services rather than tax cuts. Survey after survey have shown that people would sooner have better schools, better funded schools, more teachers, better funded hospitals, more nurses, a national dental health scheme, rather than a tax cut which will be wiped out at the next inflation rate rise anyway. So interest rate rise, I should say. So we wouldn't be throwing money away in an election bribe. We would be investing it really seriously in health, education, dental health and the like. So those three key things, doing something about climate change, scrapping work choices and services rather than tax cuts, are my priorities. Some of our other issues that we're campaigning strongly on include getting Australian troops out of Iraq, investing in the welfare of the elderly by raising pensions by at least $30 a week. There's been no serious rate rise in pensions under the Howard government at all since it's been in power. We also want a national paid maternity leave scheme. 18 weeks paid maternity leave nationally is what we're asking for. We're also campaigning heavily on full gay and lesbian equality, which the Howard government certainly hasn't delivered, and because it won't support same-sex marriage, the Labour government won't be delivering that either. So issues like that are very, very important to us. So is Aboriginal policy. We completely oppose John Howard's invasion and land grab of the Northern Territory, and we would work with Indigenous communities and the recommendations of the Stolen Generations report to improve the life of Indigenous Australians. So those are just some of our other issues, and I'd like to wrap up this tape by saying how important not just voting for the Greens in the House of Representatives is, but the Senate vote. Because, as you know, at the last election, with the help of Family First, John Howard won control of the Senate, and that meant he could basically do what he wanted. It gave him a clean slate, because the Senate traditionally acts as a House of review, but if the government controls it, then obviously it's not going to review anything, is it? And indeed, it didn't over the last 3 years. So only, in fact, the Greens can rescue the Senate. Labour can't do it. It would need to win 4 Senate seats in at least 2 states, and statistically we know it can't do that. Labour said it itself over and over again, but the Greens can. We've got Bob Brown up for re-election in Tasmania, Kerry Nettle up for re-election in New South Wales for the Senate, but if we could get a Greens senator in Queensland, one in Victoria, one in the ACT, one in South Australia, one in Victoria easily, then the Senate would then not be controlled by the government. It would become a real House of review and would make sure that whoever's in power in the House of Representatives actually really lived up to what they were elected on. So vote Green, and don't forget to vote Greens in the Senate as well. Okay, thank you very much. If you'd like to contact me about any aspect of this campaign, just go to my website, which is riverina.nsw.greens.org.au, and you found all my contact details on there, and I'd love to talk to you. Okay, thanks very much, and bye-bye.